He ends up dating all the girls in this school. I'm Care Anime, leave a like, and let's go. The anime follows the life of our protagonist named Sor, who is a boy on the track to win the hearts of all the girls. At the beginning of the anime, we discover that he has a dark past, where he lost a loved one and is now on his journey to become stronger and seek revenge. And there is no better way to do this than by joining the most prestigious battle academy, full of beautiful girls. Moreover, this boarding school is completely free. Everyone receives 3 meals a day, there is no enrollment fee, and all expenses are covered. Best of all, there is no limit to the number of girls you can have by your side calling you my handsome. This academy is a true paradise. Ka pasabi sayam, bis. On the first day, Tor spends minutes admiring a girl with silver hair under the cherry blossoms, but soon his mischievous imagination is interrupted by a newly arrived classmate who calls him and asks to walk by his side. And I wonder, what kind of charm does our protagonist have? Kikopakizapizui Dankai Sabuyeya. He is an average guy, not handsome, just normal. Anyway, the girl introduces herself as Imari and the two become friends. They talk about the academy while walking towards the auditorium to attend the entrance ceremony. In the auditorium, everyone is welcomed by the school directors. Right after the greetings, the first thing they do is dampen the mood of the future students with a surprise test, creating a tense atmosphere. Being a battle academy, this qualification ceremony serves as an admission exam. Everyone is required to fight with the person next to them until one is defeated. If the battle lasts more than 10 minutes, both will fail. The penalty for failing: you will be expelled and receive a first-class ticket to return home. This is the academy that has expelled the most students in history. As for our protagonist and his friend Imari, the fact that they are next to each other has turned them into enemies. In response, Thor tries to switch partners, but the president stops him, saying it would be disrespectful to the person he must fight against, and if he backed down in front of his opponent, he would be considered sexist. After that, the start of the ceremony is announced, and everyone begins to fight with 10 minutes to eliminate their opponents. The first to draw her weapon, or BL as it is called in the anime, is the short girl with silver hair. After revealing her swords, she charges at that boy next to her, who confronts her with his axe. Soon everyone reveals their weapons, which include chains, spears, whips, and other strange things. Imari drops his sword and points it at To, saying he must release his weapon. To remains silent, seemingly sad about having to fight the friend he just made. Imari, without waiting, advances. Tor dodges the blows until she presses him further. He then grabs her wrist and stops the attack. He asks her to admit defeat, but Imari refuses, saying she has her reasons to keep fighting. At that moment, the battle axe nearby comes flying towards them. Tor releases his weapon, which is a shield, and deflects the axe. We then discover that he is an irregular, with a shield as Blaze being the true shield hero, if you know what I mean. After that, Imari thanks Tor for saving her but continues fighting. Tor blocks her with his shield and declares his victory by disarming her. He gathers energy in his hand and strikes her, pushing her back. In the end, he proves he is not sexist. The president announces the end of the ceremony and congratulates the winners. Imari comments that no one was seriously injured, though explains that the weapons are made from each person's soul, causing only spiritual damage, not physical. He, however, mentions that his last attack was physical. Imari says he needs to get stronger, and the two say goodbye. Later, Thor meets a childhood friend, and they both talk about the secret of soul weapons. He explains that the students received medications that allowed them to manifest weapons from their souls. As they enter the classroom, the silver-haired girl enters and catches everyone's attention. To everyone's surprise, she sits next to Thor, but rejects his attempts at conversation. At that moment, a girl enters through the window wearing a maid costume with bunny ears. She introduces herself as the teacher, but contrary to expectations, no one falls for her. Instead, everyone stares at her strangely. She asks if everyone is enchanted by her beauty, and then asks everyone to introduce themselves. Everyone starts introducing themselves, and a girl with silver hair introduces herself as July Siktuna. After that, the teacher guides everyone about the new school life they will have. The student ID card they have works like a credit card, and each student can spend up to 100,000 yen per month, about 3,400 Ries, which is an excellent benefit. Studying for free and still getting an allowance, that's great, right? And on top of that, all other expenses will be covered. A real breeze. After that, the teacher explains the body system. All the academy students form pairs and live with their partners. When the students graduate from this academy, they are assigned to the security force. Within this school, everyone needs to work as a unit of two. And that is why the buddy system exists to improve teamwork. The official pairs will be decided after 1 week, but for now students should form temporary pairs with the person sitting next to them. When night falls, everyone returns to their dormitories and our protagonist ends up enjoying a nice moment seeing Julie in her pajamas. The two sit down and introduce themselves. Julie reveals that she is from a place called Gimli in Northern Europe. The fact that she easily remembers our protagonist's name is because it is similar to the Norse god Thor. She then says she is very interested in him because of the move he used during the qualification ceremony. Referring to that punch, she asks if he can teach her that move, but our protagonist refuses, saying it requires enormous pressure on the user's body and that if a girl uses it, she could suffer bodily harm. After the brief conversation, they enjoy some apple tea, ends in sleep. The next day, rumors that Julie and the protagonist slept together spread throughout the school. During breakfast, two girls, Tomo and her partner Miyabi, approach the protagonist and Julie to chat. During the conversation, Julie accidentally says that she slept with him. This makes Tomo think that the protagonist is a pervert for sharing a room with a girl. During the class, Professor Quello explains the fundamentals of the special powers used by the students. She says that the drug they used is compatible with only 1 in every 100 people, and that only those who are compatible gain the ability to manifest their blazes. These people are called exceeds. By training mind and body, the exceeds can level up and become increasingly stronger. For this, they need to undergo the sublimation ritual at the end of each term. However, if the mind and body are not strong, the person will not level up. According to the Academy's rules, students must level up at least once a year, otherwise they will be expelled. After class, everyone goes to battle training in the gym. Julie clears up the misunderstanding, and Tomo apologizes to the protagonist for calling him a pervert. After that, Julie and Tomo start training against each other. Meanwhile, our protagonist challenges Aoi to a practice fight. They also start training against each other. Thus, a week passes with everyone having practical battle classes. After the intense week, it's time for everyone to decide on their official partners. Initially, Julie asks Tomo to be her partner, as she is the closest to her in terms of strength, but Tomo had already chosen Miyabi as her official partner. The protagonist asks Aoi to be his partner. However, later, when he discovers that Julie was rejected, he goes to her and asks her to be his official partner, showing that he values Julie more than his friends. Which the official pairs decided. Professor Rabbit announces that the long-awaited time has come for everyone to fight in the famous Blaze battle, which will be a battle royal in pairs. In summary, everyone except your partner is an enemy. The battle will begin in 1 week, and until then, everyone must practice with their partners to improve teamwork. In this context, the protagonist and Julie start training together. Our protagonist suffers an embarrassing series of defeats against the girl. During the training, they exchange feedback and help each other. Julie helps the protagonist perfect some combos and even gives a name to his special attack, calling it Mjolnir Punch, in reference to Thor. Finally, the day of the battle arrived. Toru and Julie followed a simple strategy: advance directly and face any pair that crossed their path. The approach, although risky, was efficient. They defeated several pairs until only a few remained, including Tomo and Miyabi. The friends managed to hold out for a while, but were eventually defeated by Toru and Julie. In the final stage, Toru and Julie found Aoi and her partner facing difficulties. When they arrived at the scene, they discovered that Professor Rabbit had intervened, attacking Aoi and her partner. She revealed that she used blazes lethally and stated that her mission was to eliminate weak students to ensure that only the most promising remained at the academy. The teacher, showing her sadistic personality, initiated a battle against Toru and Julie. The confrontation was intense. The teacher demonstrated superiority by dominating the fight and mocking the students. However, hair tones triggered a painful memory in Toru, which drove him to gather strength for one last attack. With a perfect combination, Julie blocked the teacher, allowing Toru to deliver a powerful blow, destroying her weapon. The next day, Toru and Julie appear fully bandaged and still recovering while drinking hot tea. Julie comments to him that Rito was detained and that for now, they have gained a bit of tranquility. Toru, however, remains troubled by several unanswered questions, such as who was the person who gave the order for her to act that way in the first place. Injured and unable to even lift a cup, Toru accepts Julie's help to drink until she suddenly trips and ends up falling on top of him. Just at that moment, Tomo and Miyabi enter the room carrying snacks and they immediately assume that Toru was trying to do something inappropriate with Julie, even with his whole body injured. Later that same night, Toru has the same disturbing nightmare again and wakes up with Julie sitting by his side, visibly worried. He then goes to the balcony to get some fresh air. Julie joins him and mentions the name Altora, which Toru had murmured while sleeping, along with a dark promise to make him pay for something. Toru remains silent, reluctant to explain anything, but Julie ends up connecting the dots. In silence, she shows him a large scar on her back and discreetly admits that she also has someone she needs to settle scores with in the future. Somewhere distant in the middle of the forest, Lilith relaxes in a lake, displaying a presence and attributes that are simply impossible to ignore. Casually, she mentions to her loyal maid Sarah that she is about to go meet Toru, as he possesses the same rare trait as she does. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Toru wakes up confused, trying to understand if everything that happened the previous night was real or just an extremely vivid fever dream. The doubt ends when his hand, by accident, ends up grabbing Julie's soft body. When she wakes up, Toru gets scared and starts stammering an apology, blaming everything on the powerful script that the gods of the plot apparently wrote for him. He insists he had no idea she had sneaked into his bed. Julie explains that after opening up about her past to him, she ended up feeling lonely and decided to lie down next to him. Later, they meet Tomo and Miyabi and enter the classroom, only to find that Oi and Tatsu are already inside. Tedu questions their early arrival, but Oi tries to brush it off, saying that as a true Chad he wouldn't be affected by a few injuries. Tomo doesn't accept this excuse and reminds him of the injuries everyone suffered during the previous fight. Oi is surprised to realize that she knows about it. And then Toru reveals that Tomo and Miyabi were the only ones who rushed to help him after the battle. Oi and Tetsu make a respectful bow, but Toru reacts as if he is seeing a caveman learning good manners for the first time, since Oi had never bowed to anyone before. Meritopasuni at ease. The group then begins to speculate why Rito had completely lost control that day. Toru, however, argues that there's no point in thinking about it, as she probably would have left a long time ago. To everyone's surprise, Rito herself enters the classroom at that moment, as if absolutely nothing had happened. After class, the group tries to confront her in the hallway, but she simply pretends not to understand what they are talking about. Before the situation worsens, Sakura appears and invites everyone to her office, revealing that she has decided to reinstate Rito as a teacher. Toru, obviously outraged, reminds that she literally tried to send them to face Ace, but Sakuya ignores the argument, explaining that Rito's value to the academy outweighs her small attempt at murder. She states that Rito has an essential role in achieving the absolute duo and informs that the students will soon face a level advancement ritual. At that exact moment, a helicopter lands in the school courtyard and Lilith descends from it, accompanied by Sarah, ready to finally meet Ru. Later, during the class, Ru remains visibly tense while Rito teaches, knowing very well that she has already tried to send him directly to the realm of shadows. They listen Kova's power impulses and special blaze level abilities, showing a contrast between the students as clear as day and night. Suddenly, the voluptuous blonde Lilith bursts into the room without any warning, walks up to Toru, and directly asks about his unique blaze. She then politely asks Rito if she can borrow him for a moment. Oi finds all that extremely suspicious and demands explanations about what is happening. Lilith simply ignores the interruption, and a curious Toru agrees to hear what she has to say. Back at Lilith's luxurious house, Sarah serves snacks and tea. Lilith wastes no time and directly asks Toru to become her Jew immediately. Toru reminds her that he is already paired with Julie, but Lilith dismisses the detail arrogantly, boasting that she would be a much better partner. She explains that she discovered his abilities when she was still in England and made a great effort to transfer just to be able to join him. Toru then remembers that the academy does not allow partner changes, but Lilith's typical protagonist complex kicks in, and she claims that common rules simply do not apply to someone like her. Confident, she awaits his response, but Toru politely declines, stating that he prefers to stay with Julie. As he walks away, Lilith maliciously comments that he is wasting a plot development worthy of another level. Even so, Toru leaves, saying he has no interest at all. That same night, Rito imposes a punishment on Toru for missing class, several runs of 4 kilometers each. Later, while relaxing in the bath, Julie knocks on the door to let him know he forgot the towel outside. After that, while the two are having tea together, Julie shyly asks if they could share the same bed again. Toru, still traumatized by the previous incident where he accidentally touched her, panics and quickly invites her on a completely platonic date. Julie accepts the proposal and suggests they go shopping since she has been wearing the same shirt since the beginning. Toru managed to escape their request to sleep together, but Julie insists again and asks to lie next to him once more, leaving him confused and wondering why he even tried to resist. The next day, on the way to the mall, Toru remembers that he had asked Miyabi for advice about dates. When he invited her to join the outing, she panicked immediately, believing she was being asked on a real date and ran off before her heart simply exploded. At the mall, Toru and Julie end up getting separated for a few moments in the crowd, but he manages to find her again. Relieved, Julie holds his hand for safety, completely unaware that Tomo and Miyabi are discreetly following them like two curious detectives from a typical romantic comedy. In a clothing store, Julie enters the fitting room, and while the attendant assumes she is Tomo's girlfriend, he doesn't exactly deny the statement. Julie comes out wearing a new outfit, making both Tomo and the attendant blush completely. Excited by the reaction, the salesperson hands over even more clothes, and Julie starts trying them on happily, buying them all just because Tora mentioned she looked good in each one. They spend the entire afternoon strolling through them all and eventually sit down to have ice cream. When Toru offers her a spoonful of his rum raisin ice cream, Julie opens her mouth expecting him to feed her. He ends up doing so, and she reciprocates immediately, leaving Toru completely speechless. The alcohol in the ice cream hits Julie quickly, and while Toru tries to control her, Tomo and Miyabi watch from a distance, wondering if those two are just friends or something a bit more. Suddenly, some delinquents show up looking for trouble. Tomo tries to leave, pretending to be uninterested, but one of the guys grabs Miyabi's wrist. Tomo immediately intervenes, ready to reshape their faces. Toru notices the commotion and runs to try to calm the situation, but the troublemakers think he's just trying to impress the girls. Before everything gets out of control, Lilith arrives like a queen descending from Olympus. She pulls out her weapon, which to everyone's surprise is a full rifle, reminds those idiots to keep their distance, and takes down the delinquents effortlessly. After seeing that, Toru finally understands what she meant when she said she was an exception. After that, Toru accompanies the girls to a lingerie store, but when they accidentally end up showing him some pieces, they immediately call him a pervert, which leaves him quite frustrated. The next morning, Toru reports all the chaos to Tomo and Miyabi, who are understandably shocked by the story. Julie comments that flames don't usually manifest as complex weapons, which explains why Lilith walks around as if she's carrying the biggest trophy in the world. Meanwhile, in her dormitory, Lilith is busy being a true obsessive fan, with a table full of photos of Toru and even daydreaming about having children with him. Later, G Group receives an update called Lustful, which strengthens all of them. Although on the outside they look exactly the same, inside they are now stronger and much faster. Toru then sees Miyabi casually defeating her classmates in a race near the pool. After she wins the competition, he reaches out to help her out of the water, which results in more than just wet clothes. She thanks him for always being by her side, but he reminds her that all that progress came from her own effort. Tomo approaches to reinforce his statement, while Rikito comments on how her breasts have grown, leaving Toru speechless. The girls are completely embarrassed to hear that, and Tomo quickly calls Toru strange. At that moment, Yuli joins the group and dives into the pool, making everyone expect an incredible swimming demonstration. However, to everyone's surprise, Julie does not return to the surface. Toru quickly realizes that she wasn't swimming but drowning, so he immediately dives in to save her. It turns out her previous school didn't have swimming lessons, and Julie believes she could learn just by watching others. Everyone is shocked to see Julie failing at something, but Tomo assures that everyone has a first time to learn something. Toru puts a towel over her head, insisting that she doesn't catch a cold. As he walks away, Miyabi watches everything from afar and wishes she were bad at swimming just to receive the same affection. Later that day, Julie asks Toru to teach her how to swim. As they walk through the park, he spots Lilith having tea with Sarah and asks Julie to continue without him. Toru then sits with them and asks why Lilith was missing classes. She casually replies that she has already completed her studies with excellence and is there just for the environment. Toru comments that this way she will never make friends, and his words unexpectedly touched her heart. He remembers how she saved the girls the day before and wants to ask an important question. However, before Lilith can respond, she demands that he accompany her on a walk first, and at that exact moment, a helicopter appears. Meanwhile, Rihito is extremely irritated because Toru missed classes again. His classmates start to worry since he left without telling anyone. What they don't know is that Toru is having fun at an amusement park called Deathland alongside Lilith, who has completely abandoned her aristocratic demeanor and is now acting like a child visiting Disneyland for the first time. After surviving a volcano-themed roller coaster, taking selfies with a giant mascot, and posing in photo booths, Toru is already mentally exhausted. But Lilith is not finished yet. She drags him to a shooting gallery and impresses everyone with accuracy worthy of a professional sniper, leaving Toru completely surprised. She explains that her skill with weapons comes from her experience as a hunter, and that these weapons are already part of her very soul. That is precisely why her blades takes the form of a rifle. While Toru's is on the shield reflecting the deep desire to protect others, after scoring numerous points at the stand, Lily's jumps for joy holding a horrible plush toy, as if she had just won the lottery. The fireworks light up the night sky, giving Toru the perfect opportunity to finally ask something that had been bothering him for quite some time. Why did she reveal her blaze in public? Lilith responds that she was just trying to impress her future partner, and once again suggests that they form a powerful couple. However, Toru, true to his own feelings, refuses again. My God, that night he returns to the dorms but finds the door locked. At that moment, Julie appears climbing like a real Spider-Man. Upon noticing someone nearby, Toru gently pulls her against the wall to avoid being seen. He apologizes for returning so late, but Julie responds that she's just happy to know he returned safely. Toru admits he spent a day with Lilith, who again asked him to be her partner, but he refused because he had already promised Julie that he would always protect her. Lilith was obviously not happy, and gave him the classic dramatic anime protagonist slap. Before storming off, Jolene listens to everything in silence, smiles gently, and thanks him for choosing to stay by her side. She gently touches his face, and just when the mood becomes romantic, she starts sneezing. Toru tries to go inside, but Julie warmly embraces him and says they will stay warmer if they remain together, and he ends up agreeing. Elsewhere, Miyabi wonders if Toru has returned and starts undressing absent-mindedly to take a bath, while her mind remains completely occupied thinking about him. The next day, Rito establishes new rules. Toru is punished once again for skipping classes, and she announces that there will be a battle between the classes against second-year students. However, this time there will be no pairs. All fights will be individual, and the first-year students will face veterans specially chosen for the combat. She leads everyone to the arena where the second-year students are casually training. Rito comments that some of them have skills comparable to hers, making the whole class immediately realize they are completely lost without a solid plan. While the students desperately try to figure out a way not to be crushed like pancakes, Lilith invades the arena like a true one-woman army and challenges all the second-year students at once. Snethapep as a second ace. The veterans become confident until she draws her blaze rifle and takes one of them down instantly, plunging the entire arena into chaos. The place practically turns into a Fortnite match, as Lilith defeats everyone as if she were trying to unlock a secret ending of the game. Sakuya watches everything feeling both impressed and irritated, then decides to save the event by proposing a new idea. Lilith would face the entire first-year class alone, and their only mission would be to survive. Thus the battle begins, and all the students hide inside a huge shopping mall, turning the place into a true improvised battlefield. Lilith starts her hunt, finding the students one by one, while any attempt to ambush her ends in absolute failure. Muscle. Eventually, she finds herself face-to-face with Doru, ready to defeat him. However, before punches or shots are exchanged, Doru takes the moment to apologize for having irritated her earlier. She grumbles, believing he's just trying to ease the situation, but instead, he tells her to fight with all her strength, and maybe, after everything is over, they can finally become friends. The duel begins with Toru dodging his shots while managing to get close enough to engage in hand-to-hand combat. In the middle of the battle, he casually asks why she needed to rent an entire mall just for that fight. Lilith responds by saying that an extraordinary occasion deserves an equally extraordinary setting. As the two continue fighting intensely, the rest of the group shows up to put their plan into action. The ambush fails miserably, and Lilith praises their attempt, despite calling it pathetic. Still, she admits that it was the first minimally fun challenge she had all day, but decides to go easy on them for now. She states that she wants to wrap everything up properly later. Gathering the group again, the team begins to rethink the entire strategy. While Lilith enjoys herself alone in the central plaza of the mall, Tamui and the others devise a plan divided into two groups of 3 people. However, when they arrive at their location, they find a true battlefield. The plaza is completely filled with knocked-out students, and at first glance, there is no sign of Lilith. until she dramatically emerges from atop a pile of unconscious bodies and takes down Tatsu using her rifle, revealing that camouflage techniques are also part of her hunting skills. Thor wastes no time and immediately returns to the battle, even hearing Lilith insist that she would prefer to face him only at the end. As the fight continues, Lilith disappears again, warning that if he keeps pursuing her like that, she will be forced to fight seriously. Julie tries to block her escape route, but Lilith completely reads her movements and defeats her with extreme ease, making the huge difference in level between the two clear. She was already ready to deliver the final blow when Tomo appears at the last second to save Julie. As the group reorganizes, Julie notices that Tomo got hurt because of her and immediately apologizes. Tomo downplays the situation, saying that protecting friends is natural,